December, Frontier released the latest DLC for Jurassic World Evolution 2, the Dominion Malta Expansion. The content of this DLC was based on the Malta sequence that we saw in Jurassic World Dominion, so it included the decorations and the buildings that were part of the scenery, part of the background of that action-packed sequence. And of course, in combination with the buildings and the decorations, we also got the dinosaurs, or specifically the animals from that sequence. So we got the Atrociraptor, we got the new Allosaurus, we got the Carnotaurus, as well as Oviraptor, Lystrosaurus, Dimorphodon, and of course the Microceratus. Oh no, wait! Not the Microceratus. Instead of the Microceratus, we got the Microceratus, which is a species that was featured several times over the course of Jurassic World Dominion, but interestingly, it was never part of the Malta sequence that the whole DLC is based around. So why did we get the Microceratus and not the Microceratus that is actually part of that scene? When the Dominion Biosyn DLC launched mid-2022, Frontier caught a lot of flack for the missing content from this DLC, and we quickly figured out that this would mean that a second Jurassic World Dominion-inspired DLC would be coming to our game to finally give us all of the content from the movie, but instead we're 2 DLCs later, and we're still missing this one dinosaur that was featured in 2 scenes in the movie. And honestly, it's a little baffling. As the Malta DLC was announced and we were pointing out this missing creature, the community was a bit divided. By far the majority of the fans were really disappointed because they really wanted, like from a completionist standpoint, they really wanted that species, but also because it's a fairly popular species, they just wanted to see the Microceratus in the game. But there were also people who didn't care at all, since it's just another small useless dinosaur. But the Malta expansion is almost like the unofficial small dinosaurs pack that I remember people asking for even when we were still playing Jurassic World Evolution 1. Yes, the big dinosaurs have the wow factor, but we already have so many big dinosaurs in the game that for me it's a breath of fresh air to have more smaller species as well and create different experiences for your guests in your park. I'm personally really happy that we now have more small species in the game thanks to the Malta expansion, and I feel like Microceratus would have been a perfect fit. Yes, it's small, but in terms of size, it's on par with Lystrosaurus, Dimorphodon, and the Microceratus that I feel like we got instead. Clearly, the size was not the thing that held them back from adding this dinosaur to the game. Aside from whether people wanted it into the game or not, the explanation that started to float around was that they didn't add Microceratus because Microceratus only appeared in Jurassic World Dominion as a practical puppet. And thus the justification was, well, there is no CGI model of the Microceratus, so Frontier didn't have a CG model to use for their game and to bring the dinosaur into Jurassic World Evolution. In case you hadn't noticed, Frontier is quite capable at making dinosaurs. They've done so several times and I feel like they've done so pretty well. I think they turned out good. So yes, even though it would have been more work to introduce the dinosaur without the presence of the CGI model, as was the case for the other editions, it's not like it would have been impossible. This is what Frontier does for this game. They make dinosaurs for it. They have the technology. The other explanation that I've seen a lot in the community is that, oh well, DLCs always have 4 new species. So with the Atrociraptor, Oviraptor, Lystrosaurus, and Microceratus, they were at 4 species, so the DLC was maxed out in terms of new additions like that. But to that I say, but why Microceratus? Microceratus was not part of the Malta scene, so instead of Microceratus, it should have been Microceratus. The 4 species of the Malta DLC should have been Atrociraptor, Lystrosaurus, Oviraptor, and Microceratus. I love Microceratus, so I'm not like advocating for it to not be added to the game, like, oh, I wish I could turn back time and get rid of the Microceratus, but realistically, it should not have been part of the Malta DLC, it should have been part of the Dominion Biosyn expansion. Screw the 4 species rule, just put 5 species in, whatever. Whatever the case, Microceratus should have been in the Malta DLC. But it's not. So that brings us to the next and most important topic of this video. Is it ever going to come into our games, and if so, how? And I do personally have a slight hope that it is still going to get added to the roster, and that it was held back from the Malta expansion for a very specific reason. Microceratus first appeared on screen in Dominion, but that's not the first appearance of this species in the franchise. Microceratus pops up in the original Jurassic Park novel under its previous name Microceratops, which has since been replaced by the name Microceratus. And it's not the only dinosaur that appears or is mentioned in the original Jurassic Park novel that never made it into any version of Jurassic World Evolution. Correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, those are the only species that are part of or mentioned in the original Jurassic Park novel that never made it into Jurassic World Evolution 1, and also haven't made it into Jurassic World Evolution 2 yet. Editing Evo here, I have to step in because it's becoming a mess. It's been a while since I read the novel, so I literally looked up a table of dinosaurs in my copy of the novel, and it's a lot of family names instead of the specific genus, which makes it hard to come to a definitive list of missing species. And then when I searched online, there was variation between the lists made by different sources. Feel free to comment a list of missing dinosaurs as far as you know, but I have a feeling that there will be variation between those as well. However, it's not too important for the video, which is about Microceratus. The point of the video is Microceratus, called Microceratops at the time, as well as several other dinosaurs, were part of the original novel but aren't in the game yet, and these novel species would be the perfect basis for a Jurassic World Evolution 2 DLC. In case you don't know, Jurassic Park is celebrating a huge milestone in 2023. In that year, it is the 30th anniversary of the original Jurassic Park movie. And as I said in a previous video, it makes perfect sense for Universal and Frontier to want to do something with that celebration, to want to add something to the game, and of course earn more money. Now, it's not the 30th anniversary of the novel. 2023 is no particularly special anniversary of the novel, but you know, with the movie, we don't have any content from Jurassic Park the movie that we don't already have in the game. They sort of covered all their bases in that regard. You know, we have the buildings, we have the dinosaurs that were on screen, so we're covered. So I started to think, what could they do for the Jurassic Park 30th anniversary? Well, maybe finally give us those species from the novel that started all of it, right? I feel like that would be a pretty appropriate celebratory gift. And since Microceratus was never committed to film before Dominion, they could just use the Jurassic World Dominion Microceratus for that 30th anniversary DLC. That is how I would see them adding the Microceratus. Now that the Microceratus has missed the Malta boat, or the Malta cargo ship is a better way to put it, I feel like this Jurassic Park 30th anniversary DLC concept, which would bring in those 4 species from the novel, would be the perfect and probably last chance to logically bring the Microceratus into our parks, into our games. So I do hope that they take that approach, because I really want to see the Microceratus come into Jurassic World Evolution 2 as a way to complete the set, you know, to have all of the movie dinosaurs come into our games. Let me know in a comment down below what you think of this theory, and if/how you think Microceratus will get added to Jurassic World Evolution 2. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, enjoy the game.